Lesson 3. Offender Typologies. Analytical Tools in Forensic Psychology. In the first lesson, we learned that serial murder, mass murder, and spree killing are different structures of violence. In the second lesson, we moved beneath those definitions and examined psychological mechanisms. We looked at motivation, fantasy, internal tension, control, weakened restraint, and escalation. Now we ask a practical question. How can forensic psychology organize such complex and different forms of extreme violence? This is where typologies become useful. Typologies help us compare patterns, organize information, and ask better questions. But they become dangerous when they are treated as rigid boxes. The purpose of typology is to organize complexity, not erase it. Extreme violence does not come from one offender type. It emerges from different combinations of personality, motive, fantasy, life history, context, and opportunity. This matters because typologies in serial murder and mass murder often emphasize different features. In serial murder, typologies often focus on repetition, victim selection, fantasy, ritual, and escalation over time. In mass murder, typologies often focus on grievance, crisis, leakage, ideology, perceived injustice, or catastrophic finality. There is overlap, but the analytical emphasis is different. One common approach is motivation-based typology. These typologies group offenders by the apparent psychological or practical function of violence. Some offenders are primarily control-oriented. For them, violence may function as domination, superiority, or a temporary repair of inner instability. Others are grievance-driven. In these cases, violence may be experienced by the offender as retaliation, correction, or restoration. Some offenders show a more instrumental pattern. Here, violence is used to achieve another goal, such as eliminating an obstacle, obtaining gain, or preventing exposure. In some mass murders, ideology or group-based hatred may organize the offender's grievance. The ideology does not erase individual psychology, but it may give violence a language of justification. Other cases may be closer to emotional collapse. The violence appears linked to crisis, despair, rage, or a perceived point of no return. But motivation-based categories are useful only when they explain actual behavior. A label like revenge, control, or ideology means little if it is not connected to the pattern of action. The better question is always, what does this category help us understand? Another approach looks at personality structure and psychological organization. Some offenders show more planning, emotional control, and behavioral organization. Others show impulsivity, instability, rapid escalation, or poor regulation. This distinction can be useful, but only if we avoid making it too simple. A person may be organized before the act and unstable during it. Another may appear chaotic at first, but manage the aftermath carefully. Mixed patterns are common because real human behavior rarely fits perfectly into one category. Typologies should therefore be used as flexible maps, not fixed identities. A third approach focuses on behavioral patterns. In serial murder, this may include repetition, victim selection, approach style, ritualized behavior, or changes across offenses. In mass murder, this may include grievance formation, preparation, leakage, target choice, crisis markers, and the meaning of the final act. Behavior matters because it reveals structure more clearly than labels do. A good typology does not give final answers. It helps us ask better questions. What remains stable across the offender's behavior? What changes under pressure? What does violence appear to accomplish psychologically? And just as importantly, what does the category fail to explain? This is where typologies become risky. Once we label an offender too early, we may begin to see only what confirms the label: control-oriented, grievance-driven, organized, reactive, instrumental. These terms can sharpen analysis, but they can also narrow it. Every typological label must remain provisional. The analyst must keep asking, what else could this mean? The same behavior may reflect planning, fear, fantasy, opportunity, panic, or learned experience. If the evidence contradicts the typology must change. This is the difference between a stereotype and an analytical tool. A stereotype closes thinking. A typology should open thinking. By now, the course has 3 layers. First, we defined the structure of violence. Then, we examined psychological mechanisms beneath the act. Now we have added tools for comparison. The final step is to apply this knowledge to real behavior. In the next lesson, we will use selected case studies carefully, not to create fascination, but to practice analysis. We will move from category to behavior, from theory to application, and from popular narratives to disciplined psychological thinking. Because typologies are useful only when they help us understand complexity without pretending that complexity has disappeared.